Hello, welcome back to Miss Lee Presents. It's cold outside, isn't it? So I thought I'd do today's story by the fire. And this one has a little bit of a festive feel. Have you been good? Because a certain someone is watching. Do you know who this story is about? That's right, Father Christmas. This one is called Santa is Coming to Brighton. So I hope you have been good. Let's see what happens. Are you ready? Santa is Coming to Brighton. Written by Steve Smallman. Illustrated by Robert Dunn. Well, boomed Santa, have all the children from Brighton been good this year? Well, mostly, answered the little old elf as he bustled across the busy workshop to Santa's desk. Santa peered down at the elf from behind the tall, teetering piles of letters that the children of Brighton had sent him. Mostly, asked Santa, looking over the top of his glasses. Yes, but they've all been especially good in the last few days, said the elf. Oh, jolly good, chuckled Santa. Then we'd better get their presents loaded up. Even though the sack of presents was really, really big, and the elves were really, really small, they seemed to have no trouble loading it onto Santa's sleigh. Though how they managed to fit such a big sack onto one little sleigh, even they didn't know. But somehow they did. Splendid, boomed Santa. We're ready to go. Not quite, Santa, said the little old elf. One of our reindeer is missing. Missing? Which reindeer is missing? Asked Santa. The youngest one, Santa, said the elf. It's his first flight tonight. I've called him, but... Just then, a young reindeer strolled up, munching on a large carrot. Where have you been? Asked Santa. The youngest reindeer was crunching so loudly that it was no wonder he hadn't heard the little old elf calling. Oh, well, never mind, said Santa, giving the reindeer a little wink. He took out his Santa nav and tapped in the postcode BN1 for Brighton. This will guide us to Brighton in no time. Crunch, crunch, crunch. With a flick of the reins and a jerk of the harness, off they went, racing through the sky. Ho, 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 laughed Santa. We'll soon have these parcels delivered to beautiful Brighton. Santa's sleigh flew through the starry night, heading south across the North Sea. On they flew in the crisp wintry air, crossing the coast over Margate. In the wink of an eye, the sleigh was flying above Canterbury and on to Sussex. The youngest reindeer was very excited. He had never been away from the North Pole before. They were just crossing over the South Downs when, suddenly, they ran into a blizzard. Snowflakes whirled around the sleigh. They couldn't see a thing. The youngest reindeer was getting a bit worried, but Santa didn't seem concerned. In 2 kilometres, said the Santa nav in a bossy lady's voice. Keep left at the next star. But, madam, Santa blustered, I can't see any stars in all this snow. Soon they were hopelessly lost. Then, through the howling blizzard, the youngest reindeer heard a faint ringing sound. Ding dong! He looked over at the old reindeer with the red nose, but he had his head down. Red nose? I wonder who that could be. Ding dong! Ding dong! There was that sound again, like church bells ringing. The youngest reindeer turned round to look at Santa, But Santa wasn't listening. He seemed to be arguing with a little box with buttons on it. With a flick of the harness and a jerk of the reins, the youngest reindeer gave a sharp tug and headed off towards the sound of the bells, pulling Santa and his sleigh behind him. "Whoa!" cried Santa, pulling his hat straight. "What's going on?" Then, to his surprise, he heard a ringing sound. "Well done, young reindeer," he shouted cheerfully. "It must be the bells of St. Nicholas Church. Don't worry, children. Santa is coming." But suddenly, crunch! The sleigh hit something as it plummeted through the snow clouds. "You have arrived," said the Santa now unhelpfully. Finally, when the snow had died down and the clouds parted, Santa discovered exactly where they were. Stuck right at the very top of the royal pavilion. "Everybody pull!" The reindeer pulled with all their might until, at last, with a screeching noise, the sleigh scraped clear of the dome and Santa steered them safely over Brighton Museum and Art Gallery, above Edward Street, over Park Hill, and down into Queen's Park. Luckily, there was no real damage done, but the parcels had all been jumbled up. Santa quickly sorted the presents into order again. "Right," said Santa. "Thanks to this young reindeer, I know where we are now. Don't worry, children. Santa's coming." Santa drove his sleigh expertly from rooftop to rooftop all over Brighton, popping in and out of chimneys as fast as he could go, which was pretty fast for a chubby chap. There were big chimneys in Kemp Town and small chimneys in Salt Dean. He squeezed down thin chimneys in Hankleton and plummeted down fat chimneys in Five Ways. The youngest reindeer was amazed at how quickly they went. Santa never seemed to get tired at all, and it looked like the children in Brighton were going to be very lucky this year. But the youngest reindeer was starting to feel a bit weary and quite hungry too. In house after house, Santa delved inside his sack for parcels of every shape and size. He piled them under the Christmas trees and carefully filled up the stockings with surprises. In house after house, the good children of Brighton had left out a large mince pie, a small glass of something, and a big, crunchy carrot. Santa took a little bite out of each mince pie, a tiny sip of something, wiped his beard, and popped the carrots into his sack. From Withdean to Whitehawk, from Preston Park to Poets' Corner, from Hollingbury to Hove, and all the places in between, Santa and his sleigh visited every house in Brighton. Santa delivered presents to Alfie, Ava, Ben, Brooke, Charlie, Chloe. The list went on and on. Zach, Zara, Zibble. Zibble? That must be a spelling mistake, surely. Finally, Santa had delivered the last present on his long Brighton list. "Great moons and stars," sighed Santa. "It's past midnight, and my sack seems as heavy as ever. I hope I haven't forgotten anyone." Santa opened his sack to check, but it was full of juicy, crunchy carrots. Santa shared out the carrots between all the reindeer. "Well done, lad," he said, patting the youngest reindeer gently on the nose. But the youngest reindeer didn't hear him. He was too busy munching. Then it was time to set off for home. Santa reset his Santa nav for the North Pole, and soon they were speeding past hotels and guest houses, above Brighton Pier and over the sea through the crisp, starry night. "Ho, ho, ho!" laughed Santa. "Merry Christmas, Brighton!